Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I thought we could discuss how the Cr1TiKaL situation is crazy. Make sure that you like, comment and subscribe. I'm doing this wild new thing at the moment where I just actually bother uploading on my main channel. I'm just gonna see how it goes. It might stick, it might not. Might get bored again. This flippant attitude is a perfect starting point for this topic about entitled YouTubers earning way too much money. Lol joke. Though I am a lazy YouTuber. Anyway, here's the situation. Basically, last week, MoistCr1TiKaL, who shall henceforth be known as Charles or Charlie, because we're on first name basis, obviously. Charles turned off his donations and super chats, so donations on Twitch and his super chats on YouTube, citing that he has enough money, stop sending him money. And I agree, he has enough money, stop sending him money, send me money. I am not rich like Charlie, because unlike Charlie, I don't upload twice a day, I upload like once a month. Anyway, moving on swiftly. So he did that, which I think fair enough, right? And he didn't do it to start anything. He didn't do it to start on anyone. He was just simply exerting a boundary. I've got too much money. Please stop working your normal people jobs and then coming home and sending me money. It's not right, dude. Regardless. So he did that. And then apparently some other streamers apparently took this as a bit of an attack on them. They took that personally, that Charlie exerted a boundary on his own channels that he owns, that he's allowed to do. They said that for some people, donations are about being within the community and supporting us and feeling like a member of the community. So then Charlie did a second follow-up video where he said, you guys can believe that. I personally disagree with that and I think it's parasocial, but you're allowed to... He was being very non-judgmental, because the thing about Charlie is like he is pretty neutral on a lot of things and he's quite a non-judgmental dude. So he was being like, if you think that, then that's fine for you. I'm just saying, I don't believe that. It's not fine for me on my channel. So I don't know why you're all taking this so seriously, quite frankly. So then he put literally his money where his mouth is and he revealed how much money he's made from Twitch and YouTube. He started with Twitch first and it was like several million. I think there was 1 year where he made about 4 million, where he was streaming every day, treating it as like a proper job quotations. By the way, the following video and the arguments that I'm going to, not arguments, I'm literally just going to be presenting my opinion and not arguing with anyone, but my opinions later on in this video are going to be specific to YouTube only, because I am not a Twitch streamer. I'm not a streamer. I'm never going to be a streamer. I think it's boring, quite frankly, and that's fine. I can't really imagine how, if I was to stream, anyone would derive enjoyment from me sitting there in real time getting my words wrong. I don't really get it. So the arguments and when we talk about like CPM and money and advertisers, my somewhat knowledge, like scarce knowledge, my knowledge is in YouTube, not Twitch. Anyway, should I do a follow-up video at some point about how kind of low-key Orwellian it is when you are a YouTuber, having to be fluent in double speak, having to add constant softeners to your speech, to the point that when I have conversations with normal people, sometimes I'm a bit taken aback at how just like bombastic, and I'm pretty, I wouldn't say controversial, but I'm pretty opinionated on this channel, right? I will call a dick, and yet sometimes when I talk to normal people, because they don't have to like soften their words, because they don't have to like actively preempt that people are going to argue with them, people just out and out really say, like, they have no filter in real life. And I'm like, wow, I wonder what that's like. Because my brain, I always have to say, even, what video did I just do? I just did the Hailey, sorry, I'm rambling, I know. I just had a coffee and it's hit my veins. It's gone straight into my sinuses. I just did a video on Hailey Pham and I said something about a Stephen King book and I was like, oh, I think he did this under Richard Bachman. And it's like, I knew for a fact he did. But I have to say, I automatically add like, I think, probably, not sure, just to deflect any of the, well, actually, because like I have to edit what I'm saying in real time, but then it's hard to edit what you say. You can't just like look up every single fucking sentence as you're talking to a microphone and then, anyway, what am I talking about? Regardless, he made several million from Twitch. Stay on topic. Comment in the comment section if you want that kind of like video combining how being YouTuber is like weirdly Orwellian plus Kafka-esque. Like it's almost like how politicians are trained to speak and trained to like kind of be neutral and never promise anything properly. Like if you want longevity on it ties in because if you it'll tie in. But if you want longevity on this platform, you've got to learn to be like kind of amenable. So he made several million from Twitch, right? Which he is very popular on Twitch. I remember once, wasn't there some sort of leak of like the top performing streamers on Twitch, and Critical was like pretty high up there, and it showed how much he'd made from Twitch over the years. I think it was like 18 million or something. Was it that much? Maybe it was like 10 million. Regardless, I remember there was such a leak because I remember I rage quit Instagram. Like I deleted my Instagram account that had like 20,000 followers, and now I've only got like 5,000 new ones. Please go follow me on Instagram. I deleted my Instagram because I got so pissed off of just seeing people being dumb all the time. Because I saw someone making a meme and a joke about it, being like, it was a meme page that had taken a screenshot from Twitter, and someone on Twitter had been like, oh my god, the new Twitch leaks, have you seen that like blah 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 made like 5 billion from Twitch? And it was no, it was like it was like 1 trillion. Someone had said someone's made like 1 trillion from Twitch. I think it was that, softening again, it was that specifically, because they uploaded this meme and, you know, like ha ha ha, go in the comment section, and like people on Instagram were being like, oh my god, no one should be able to make that amount of money from Twitch. 1 trillion. Like people read that and went, oh my god, we don't have any trillionaires yet. God willing. And yet someone thought, really thought from a fucking meme on Instagram that someone had become a trillionaire from Twitch. Information you could easily Google, right? Or if you just even had a cursory knowledge of the human fucking race, you'd know that we don't yet. I'm going to Google it now. Do we have any trillionaires yet? Because it's 2025 now, so it might be different from when I saw this fucking meme. No, there are no trillionaires. Right. Easily, I just Googled it to fact check myself, right? But I got so angry because the thought that like anyone can literally, I think there's got to be a barrier for entry for using the internet, man. I really do. I think you should have to take some sort of standardized like non-IQ test, because that's not fair. And a lot of IQ tests, it's just a pattern recognition anyway, so who gives a fuck? Saying that, I clearly have a very high IQ. But some sort of standardized test, maybe like, can you Google stuff? Yes or no? The thought that like people could just go online and say anything and then believe anything and then reaffirm that by commenting it and not thinking, it made me rage quit. Anyway, what has this got to do with, oh, fucking hell, this is the worst I've ever done on a video so far, I think. Yep, we're 10 minutes in and I have talked about nothing. So then Charlie, because that's the point of the video, Charlie showed, and this is just from ads. So the Twitch, I'm pretty sure was just like, was it his ads and donations? Whatever. But the YouTube one, I know because it was in his YouTube studio, was just from the ads alone. So not from, he had made over the year, well, he said that he turned on super chats a million years ago, a year ago, and he made 1 million from them. So he's turned them off. But the number that he put on the screen, I was a bit taken aback. I was like, wow. Even though logically I knew, because my like toxic trait is I love going on Social Blade. And Social Blade, I've said this so many times in videos. It bears repeating though, because people don't fucking listen, right? Like, I'm surprised people get surprised at how much money there is in digital media marketing. Because I've discussed this like several times over like the past 5 years. Social Blade have a cap on the earnings. If you look at my Social Blade, it's saying that I'm making like, mine says that I'm making $500 a month, which would be about £300. Do you guys really think I'm living off of £300 a month at the moment? My rent is triple that. My rent plus bills is probably like quadruple that. No, I'm not only earning £300 a month from YouTube. Social Blade has a cap. It can be relied upon for the statistics of like views and subscribers. But unless you have like more than a cursory knowledge about CPM, you might take that as fact. Like, I couldn't live off $500 a month. Are you kidding? I'm not making $500 a month from YouTube. It's so much more profitable than people think. Regardless. So Charlie showed the amount that he was making from YouTube AdSense alone on his channel. And over the course of, I believe it was 17 years, he's made $35 million. And I did go, but even though logically I knew, because I've checked, that's it, the toxic trait, I've checked his Social Blade like a few times, and bearing in mind like my knowledge of what I can guesstimate a decent CPM to be, and we'll get into it in a bit. I've like estimated, oh yeah, dude's like pulling in, he's easily getting some months where he's pulling in like $1 million, because he, like in the last month alone, he's had, I think it was like 130 million views. So of course that's going to equate to, we'll get there anyway. Anyway, he made this video and he was like, I'm just putting it out there because I want to prove to you guys I do not need your money. Now, obviously, his 35 million made over 17 years doesn't mean that he has 35 million like in the bank. There would be, I think he said in Florida there's no income tax or something. I don't know. But there would be other costs. And I know that he has some sort of like media marketing company to help creators get sponsorships or whatever. So he's got people on payroll and yada yada, but he's still probably got like a third of that in his bank. Otherwise, what are you doing, man? Me saying that, barely scraping by with no savings. Anyway, so then of course, not all people, but enough that I'm going to make a video, and I am making a video about this. Of course, people on Reddit have been like, I'm in the wrong profession. YouTubers are overpaid, etc., etc. He's doing nothing but talking. He's getting paid that amount of money, yada, yada, yada. And this is why I want to talk about this in the video, because I'm going into this fully prepared that people aren't going to like my opinion or what I'm going to say about it. But I also know that I've been fairly consistent in my viewpoint about this, and we can get into that because I've got an example about Alizee on from like several years ago. We'll get into it. Regardless, some of the discourse has gone from, which is, it's ridiculous because Charlie did this to prove the point of he doesn't need your donations. Stop earning your money and then sending him and the top streamers money because they don't need it and he doesn't need it. And it's turned into streamers having a go at him because, you know, they feel like the foundation is quaking or whatever. And he wasn't even trying to start anything. He was just exerting a boundary on his own channels. And now people, of course, because Redditors are the most, me going on Reddit every day, but Redditors are the most miserable people on the planet. People on Reddit being like, I'm in the wrong profession, blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to say this right now for the people who are like, I'm in the wrong profession. Do it. Like, like the barrier for entry is infinitesimal now. Make a YouTube account. In fact, I'll give you advice. I could be a consultant for social media marketing. You don't even need a camera anymore. Most phones within the last few years are perfectly adequate for filming on. You know, Tana Mojo was vlogging the entire time on like her iPhone over all these years. Do you know how much money she's made from her vlogs? And she was doing it from her iPhone, nothing fancy. You can use your phone. If you're writing angry comments on Reddit, you certainly either have a phone or a laptop, so you can use that. You could use your laptop webcam, or I'm not even doing this on camera right now because I got makeup smeared on my face and my hair is messy and I'm in pajama shorts because I'm just quirky like that, right? Like, you can just use, and you don't even need, I've got a nicer microphone. This did cost like £100, I will say that. I've got like one of the nicer ones. You could use your phone microphone. I've done that before for like little segments. I've done that before. It works perfectly adequately. There are free editing softwares. You can download free 30-day trials of plenty of different editing softwares. But CapCut, the TikTok editing software, the free version of that is pretty good. I do use the pro version for some editing work that I do outside of YouTube for clients. But even that is like 12 quid a month. But CapCut's actually like free. It gets the job done. It's got a lot of built-in things. You could just, if you don't know how to edit, not many people do know how to edit. Do you know how we learn? Well, I did media at college, so I knew how to edit. But for anything I don't know, I go on YouTube and I watch tutorials. You don't need to do like a, Skillshare class or whatever. You can just watch free tutorials on YouTube. You can learn to edit and you can, record yourself yapping about literally whatever you want, as long as you're not being like super offensive. Just do it. If you think YouTube is easy money, go for it. Now, obviously, the barrier for entry for monetization is 1,000 subscribers, or is it 500? I think they changed it again. Regardless, it's X amount of subscribers, and it is 4,000 hours of watch time. Now, the 4,000 hours of watch time, upload some longer videos. Try and get some views. Maybe you'll get there. And when it comes to sponsorships, brand deals, etc., you can actually get sponsorships and brand deals at like surprisingly low follower counts. I know there's a few channels that Raid Shadow Legends have sponsored who have had like 10,000 followers. And that is on like the smaller side. I think my first sponsorship was at like 40,000. But I've known like other channels to get sponsorships that are like way smaller followings. There are even they call them micro influencers on Instagram, like the type of accounts that follow 5,000 people, so they have 5,000 followers back, and they get like very small brand deals too. They get opportunities and whatnot. If you're creating content and putting it out there and engaging, opportunities do come. However, every YouTube being oversaturated does make it harder than ever to stand out now, especially when, like I always say, Zoella and like the Brit gang and those types of people, they don't appreciate how comparably easier they had it back then but the internet was still seen as like performing online was still seen as this really like weirdo thing. I don't think like many quote unquote cool people were doing it. It was kind of like a weird thing to be an early days vlogger, but because no one else was really doing it, you had your Smoshes, you had your Zoellas, you had your Tanya Burrs, they were getting like millions of views. And this was like when there was the YouTube partner program as well, so the money was much higher and there was way less saturation. There was I remember talking to someone once a decade ago. This is the thing. It's oversaturated. Do not let that get in the way of things though. Because I remember talking to someone once a decade ago on Tinder of all places. And I was like, I want to do YouTube and be a YouTuber. And this guy claimed he was friends with JJ. He kept calling him JJ from KSI. Claimed he was friends with KSI. And he was like, yeah, but like it's so oversaturated now. So there's no point. You'll never get anywhere. Well, fuck you, random guy from Tinder that I never went on a date with. Ha. You know, it is like heavily oversaturated, but then you never know when like the next Emilio's, Emma Chamberlain, whatever is going to come out and then yada yada. You just never know. So what I'm trying to say for anyone can do it and get paid, do it. Like literally try it. There's nothing stopping you. I don't look, cost of living crisis. I know some people are going to be like, well, I don't have the time. You know, when I started doing YouTube as a hobby 8 years ago, I want to say, and I worked 6 days a week in this tech shop, right? And what I would do is I would either film late at night or wake up really early in the morning and film. And then I would take my SD card to work. And when my manager wasn't looking, I would secretly edit videos because they had nice Macs at work. I would secretly edit videos when my manager wasn't looking and upload them. And I wasn't even doing it for money that back then because I can't remember when I got monetized, but like obviously you go for a while without being monetized. So you have to like, the thing is, it's not just you start and it's easy money. It's you start and you have to really want to do it to get anywhere because you are going to spend, unless you're lucky and you get a viral hit, you're going to spend the first 6 months to a year just uploading videos, learning about meta tagging or whatever, hoping that making your own thumbnails because you can't outsource, and editing your own videos because you can't outsource, like hoping people are going to watch your content, people are going to like your content enough for you to end up getting monetized. So, you know, you have to really do it for like the love of the game to begin with. Because that's funny too, because like you are basically, dare I say, an unpaid intern until you get monetized. Just grinding away, completely unpaid, unless people like send you money on PayPal, hoping to get, and then you get monetized and then it's like, but we'll get into it. But you know, just for those people on Reddit who are like, anyone can, go for it. Give it a go. I don't care. Just because other people are getting paid doesn't mean that I'm going to get paid less. So I don't care. Like, go for it. Do it. But the truth of the matter is most channels never make it big or never make it, at least for it to be self-sustaining. vidIQ recently came out with this article saying, see how you compare YouTube subscriber growth statistics revealed. So they claim that they analyzed 65 million YouTube channels with at least one subscriber as of September 25, and the numbers prove that every step forward matters more than you think. So, most people underestimate how rare subscriber growth really is. The truth, the majority of channels never cross a few hundred subs. That means even what feels like a small audience may actually put you ahead of millions of other creators. When you compare your YouTube channel with this dataset, you'll see how every milestone shifts your position on the global leaderboard. Passing 100 subscribers moves you into the top 63%. Reaching 500 subs pushes you ahead of 58% of all creators. And from there, each rung of the ladder gets even rarer. One of my friends was being a twit to me the other day about this, actually. This is another thing that no one tells you about like being a YouTuber. Oh, people don't respect you. People do not respect you. Like at all. Like a lot of your own friends aren't going to respect what you do, or maybe subconsciously, subliminally, they're going to think, they're like, well, if she can do it and she's a fucking idiot, like anyone can do it. Like one of my friends, I think they were being a bit disparaging, and they called me like they were like, oh yes, you're somewhat successful. And I was like, well, actually statistically, I'm in the top like 0.6% of, even though I've not even got 250,000 followers, I'm still in the top 0.6% of all YouTube channels on YouTube. And he was like, ow. People don't respect you if you, I mean, I barely respect myself for being a YouTuber. I feel like this isn't a proper job. Every year I get older, the increasingly I feel like, how could I keep this up? I can't be like Keemstar pushing 70 being on YouTube still, can I? But then there's literally a TikToker, this old grandma, and she's like 90, and she's always doing funny things like going to another funeral, outlived another hoe or whatever. So who knows? Anyway, so 100 subscribers, top 63% of all YouTube channels. 500, top 42%. If you have over 1,000 subscribers, you are in the top 33% of all YouTube channels. vidIQ says at this level, it's not about luck, it's about systems. By now, you should have a sense of what works in your channel, and your goal is to make that success repeatable. That means consistent publishing, optimized titles and thumbnails, audience engagement. If you have 10,000 subscribers, you are in the top 6% of all YouTube channels. You have outpaced 94% of creators. You're no longer a small channel. You are now a recognized player in your niche. That's crazy because I think I'm a small channel still. But vidIQ says, at 10K, your channel has decent revenue potential, monetization at scale, brand identity, production systems, collaborations, diversified content. You're operating like a business. If you have 100,000 subscribers, you are in the top 1% of all YouTube channels. You're in the, oh my God, I'm a 1%er. You're in the 1% club. At this level, your focus shifts to being a full-time creator and long-term sustainability. If you have 1 million subscribers, you are in the top 0.1% of all YouTube channels. So, for all the people that always say, anyone could do it, clearly not. The data doesn't lie. But let's get into, this is the main crux of my video, right? Let's get into the YouTube earnings 101 side of things and my controversial opinions about it. I have continuously said for several years, my low stakes conspiracy theory is that big content creators lie about how much money there is to make from influencer marketing to either downplay their success / riches to seem more humble than they are and thus more relatable, or maybe subconsciously to try to have less competitors, right? Because why would someone want to get into it if they don't think that you're making a living wage from it? I saw once on Reddit, some people were talking about some influencers that I know of, and they were being like, well, maybe it's not even like their full-time job. Like they probably have a normal job and this is more of a hobby, because surely they can't and we're talking about channels with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, right? But these people are being like, it's probably just like a hobby for them. It's not like a job. And it's like, no, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Like if you're uploading consistently and regularly does mean consistently. If you're uploading consistently and your channel is in good standing, you should be making, and by consistently, I mean it like at least once a week, maybe twice. Or if your videos are like super long, but they're pulling in like really big views, you should be making thousands of pounds a month. So I went full-time. I'm pretty sure when I went full-time with YouTube, I went full-time with YouTube in January 2020 because I got so sick of my 6-day-a-week job. I wasn't appreciated. But I got so fed up of it that I was like, that's it. I'm just going to quit and go full-time with YouTube. I wasn't yet earning even the same amount of wage that I earn at my normal job. I just went, screw it. I'm just going to do it and see how it goes for 3 months. And, if it fails, then I'll just have to get another job again. But then I did write Piers Morgan's Vegan Lover and did good things for my channel, I think. So I went full-time on YouTube in January 2020. And I'm pretty sure I had about 50,000 followers on YouTube, subscribers. And literally like I think it was that month, I made an equivalent amount to my wage at the 6-day-a-week job. It actually wasn't even London living wage. But I made the equivalent in YouTube full-time in that January. And then by February, I was making more than that. So it was a good decision. But if I could do that with 50,000 subscribers, what do you think people with like 500,000 subscribers, 5 million subscribers are doing or putting in? So the main point that I think people are going to argue with me about, but whatever. YouTubers, like how we get paid is we make money from AdSense via adverts playing on our videos. Advertisers, big corporations, pay YouTube hundreds of millions of dollars a year, pounds, sorry, to be placed on videos being watched by the audience. The more views a YouTuber accumulates, the more ads get shown on their channel. And we all know the mid-roll ad thing, but if you have like a 30-minute long video, you can chuck like 6 to 8 ads in there. Doesn't mean that 6 to 8 ads will play for every person. I think YouTube kind of picks and chooses a little bit, but regardless, longer the video, the more ads you can put in, the more money you can make. That's why people shifted from making 10-minute videos. God, remember when like 10-minute videos was hard to make? Here's me, I've been chatting for literally 30 minutes straight and I'm not even halfway done. But that's why there was a move towards that and a move towards, I guess, more podcasts being made because there's just more money in it. The more views a YouTuber accumulates, the more adverts get shown on their channel. All monetized YouTubers essentially get a cut of what YouTube themselves are receiving. There is something called a CPM, which is how much we get paid per 1,000 views, and it fluctuates like mad depending on things like there's all these variables: watch time, video duration, your channel standing, aka are you advertiser friendly or not, how much do you swear, though I think they've loosened up on that, though there's some swear words you cannot say. Your audience type is quite important. Larger female audiences means better advertising rates because women tend, the stats show, to buy more things, whereas men don't. And especially certain like age demographics as well. Do these people have like the age, the geography? You can see this all in like YouTube analytics in your YouTube studio. Does your audience have disposable income? Does your audience struggle with like the cost of living? All these things go into how much CPM you get. It's worked out by the algorithm, right? So your CPM, it depends on audience type, the type of adverts that are being shown, and your channel genre, funnily enough. Commentary channels that talk about controversial topics in 10-minute videos might have a CPM of £3, which I would say, like I've heard of some massive channels that have like a CPM of £1. A £1 CPM would be like making £1,000 per million views. It's very difficult to get 1 million views unless you're one of the top creators, and we'll get to that in a minute. It's very difficult to get. I've only ever had one video to get like 1.2 or 3 million views. And I don't think it's that. I think it's like 1.1. I've only had one video very difficult to break 1 million views, right? Whereas people who do longer videos on relatively safer topics might have a CPM of more like £10 per 1,000 views. Apparently, finance channels can have high CPMs of like £15, £20 per 1,000 views. Apparently, that's what I've seen from some people talking about. Also, when your channel increases in size, it might mean your CPM naturally gets higher. It could also not. I found with my channel, my CPM did get higher naturally the more subscribers I had, but that might not be like, that might be a case-by-case basis. And unless you get demonetized, there is no ceiling cap so far that they've introduced on your earnings. If you have good engagement and views per video, then you get out financially what you put in via effort. Regardless, your CPM and how much you make for getting bums in seats watching the adverts on your content is still just a cut of what YouTube are receiving for platforming the advertisers in the first place. And advertisers shelling out millions to spend on ads isn't a new thing. It existed in traditional media marketing before digital media marketing even existed. Digital media marketing has been around for like, 20 years, maybe? I don't know. I have friends who work in digital media marketing, and you won't believe how much huge corporations are chucking around. So here's the opinion I think people aren't going to like. Let's use Charlie specifically. Charlie, in the last 30 days, got something like 120, 130 million views. And on average, I think he's getting 2 million views per video. Some videos get 900,000 views. Some videos get like 6 million views. So let's just say on average, he's getting 2 million views per video. Probably more. That's over 2 million bums in seats watching his uploads and thus his adverts. We get paid, all of us that are monetized, by adverts. So put simply, if you're not okay with someone in the top of the field in YouTube making his type of money, you're not really okay with your favorite smaller YouTubers making the wage they do from it. Because this isn't a situation where it's like the CEO of Tesco, for example, was paying himself a big fat profit whilst his workers in the bottom of the pyramid make maybe not even a living wage. It's not that at all. It's not a zero-sum game. I'm not going to earn less just because other people are earning more. All of us who are monetized have the potential for earning good money depending on what we are outputting. It's not like Charlie's profits cut into my wage. With YouTube monetization, it's basically the same mechanism. There's just different levels with it. One person on YouTube making millions doesn't mean others on YouTube are being deprived. There isn't this finite pot, unless we have Adpocalypse too. Remember the first Adpocalypse? I remember Keemstar literally turned the adverts off on his channel because he's a multimillionaire anyway, because he wanted like smaller channels to be able to make some money still. That was crazy, huh? If Charlie wasn't earning that money, it would just go to other creators or straight back to YouTube anyway, to Google. It's not going to go out to like random viewers or whatever. Our earnings are directly tied to how many adverts are served and watched. YouTube and advertisers take the lion's share of the money. We just all get a cut of that. So these people that are maybe like getting iffy with Charlie about, you know, showing how much money he's made, and he wasn't bragging, he just wanted to, you know, make his point. What's the point in having a go at YouTubers for it when YouTube are making more money? Like, for, you know, for the 35 million that Charlie has made over 17 years, YouTube has probably made hundreds of millions off of the back of him, off of receiving the advertisers and then giving him a cut of it. Do you understand what I mean? I remember, and this is how I know that my feelings have been pretty consistent on this. With caveats, I do think there are some creators who don't fucking deserve a penny because they're just trash, but that's different. That's just me being petty because I don't like them. I remember when it came out years ago, just how much money PewDiePie was making from YouTube when he was the top YouTuber of all time. And this was his peak of getting 10 million views a day. Anision, of all people. And I felt this way before I was a monetized YouTuber, because it was in that time frame of when I wasn't a monetized YouTuber, and I still felt this way. Anision, of all people, was like, PewDiePie makes way too much money. Way too much money. That is just jealousy, pure and simple, because Anision is on the same fucking framework, and well, not anymore because he's demonetized, but he was on the same framework and the same mechanism, right? If Anision had been getting 10 million views a day, then he would have roughly made a similar amount of money as PewDiePie. Do you think that motherfucker would have complained? Do you think he'd have been like, I'm making way too much money? No, he would have been lying and downplaying about how much he's made so people like send him money, which he was doing for years, FYI, because he was one of the OG YouTubers. YouTube probably maybe gave him millions in the partner program, but he downplayed it for years. As I'm saying, this isn't like a pyramid scheme. I read on Reddit earlier, someone said, oh yeah, there's loads of money to be made in it if you're doing things right and you're getting good solid engagement, you've got a good CPM, because they had something like 50,000 followers and they were making $4,000 a month. So it's not like a pyramid scheme. It's not that currently PewDiePie and Critical make so much money, therefore I'm going to make less money because of them. No, that's not how they work. We all get a cut of the ads that run on our channels. And when it comes to Critical and PewDiePie, they kind of got lucky. They did hit the YouTube lottery. They're not exactly indicative of the average creator on here. There's probably millions of creators that make like a decent wage. You know, maybe like a few grand a month, enough to pay rent and bills and have like a little bit of savings. There's more creators like that than there are the creators making millions. Charlie often acknowledges that he is literally just a dude who got lucky and he doesn't really understand why. Though I think his relatability and him just being a dude is why he's been consistently successful year after year. But essentially what I'm trying to say in this portion is that we only get paid because we get a cut after YouTube. And this is just AdSense, it's not like about brand sponsorships or whatever. After YouTube takes a massive portion of the pie. We get a slice, YouTube takes the rest of that portion, the rest of the pie. For advertisers advertising on our videos, if people on Reddit don't like it, why are you complaining at the YouTuber? Why not complain at the advertisers for spending hundreds of millions a year on making sure you see whatever crap they're selling? For people like Charlie, the skill set he has comes from his ability to get bums in seats, and YouTube earnings work on scalability. Generally speaking, factoring in good channel standing, advertiser-friendly content, the more views you get, the more money you can make. And if someone can basically guarantee over 2 million people to watch every upload on average, why shouldn't they get paid accordingly for it? Especially when YouTube are just going to pocket the rest of that money that advertisers are paying. Why shouldn't the YouTuber get like their, probably not even their fair cut? I don't know the ins and outs of Google, but I'd say they probably aren't getting like a fair cut or a fair percent. I don't know. That information is not accessible to me. But, you know, I'm a cynical person. So like imagine Imagine it's actually like less than 10% of what the advertisers are actually paying. But as I said, out of Charlie's 35 million over 17 years, YouTube has probably made hundreds of millions from the adverts on his channel on top of that. So I don't see the problem. Charlie specifically, his money is from scale. Just like any performer or TV show that gets millions of eyeballs, he has millions of people actively watching him every single time he uploads. So if you're mad at a top creator making money, and I don't get mad at the top creators making a lot of money. I'm not talking about streamers, I'm talking about YouTubers. That's what this is about. I don't get mad at them making money. Like, because, I want to make that money. But really, you're just getting mad at how ad-driven media works, whether it's TV or streaming or YouTube or whatever. And as I said before, it's not a pyramid scheme. It's not like someone working at Tesco's. All creators get a proportional cut as long as they stay in good standing, which is a kind of form of censorship in a way, because it's kind of arbitrary. YouTube could just decide tomorrow all swearing is now not advertiser friendly, and everyone who's said as much as a damn, a hell, or a shit gets like their AdSense cut. YouTube can just decide that. We have no control over that, which is, basically it's entertainment economics. Charlie can get bums in seats. If it's so easy, anyone can try, and statistically the vast majority don't succeed. So don't get like mad at the creators. Get mad at advertisers for spending billions to sell you stuff. But then if they're going to spend that money anyway, because it's advertising, they're going to spend that money anyway. Creators are the conduit, but YouTube takes most of the money. And Charlie's transparency is actually pretty rare. And it's not even just about creating videos. It's about being consistent. Hello, me, the most consistent YouTuber of all time. I'm wondering why I'm not making more money. It's about adapting to trends, adapting to YouTube's arbitrary fucking rules, whatever. Like recently they did that thing where they just cut views from anyone who is using an ad blocker. It's like, okay, cool, great, thanks YouTube. Dealing with algorithm changes that they don't really warn you about. They just do it, and then you have to guess. You have to guess. It's like, this is our job and we just have to guess what we're doing every month. They are less trigger happy on demonetization now, but when they were first demonetizing, they demonetized like all of Jenna Marbles' videos, and she was making soap of her dogs. There's also the copyright claims, so you're not allowed to. Even the Korean entertainment K-idol video that I did like 2 months ago, that got copyright claimed because I used like a little bit of footage from some people, a K group getting interviewed. I didn't include the audio, I just include the footage, and I added like glitchy overlays and all that kind of stuff. So it was protecting under fair use, and they had to release the copyright claim after it was in escrow for like a month. They had to release the copyright claim, took the fucking time of it, but it got copyright claimed. And sometimes a company can just win that and be like, well, tough shit, I don't think it actually is fair use, even though it is. So you can get copyright claims, you get copyright claims for using music, you can get harassed by people because your job is pretty public. So sometimes people feel like they know you and you can get harassed because of it. So that's fun. On a less serious note, there is the imposter syndrome that you constantly feel the way that you will not be respected. Your friends might say that they respect you or whatever. They don't. They secretly do not respect you. None of your friends do. For being a YouTuber. The career is quite unstable. No one is guaranteed easy money, even if you get to like 100,000 subscribers. You could get demonetized. You might not get sponsorships because they might just not like you. Your CPM fluctuates a lot. YouTube could just decide to turn it all off tomorrow and keep all of the money themselves. And what would we do? Nothing. We won't be able to do anything about it, I'm pretty sure. And there is something to note about how the creators who are making millions generally have been at it for a long time. Charlie has been doing YouTube for, it's something like 17 years. He's not some sort of overnight success, because the overnight successes, they tend to they go viral and then they burn out quick. And then they just disappear after a year or two. He's been doing it for a long time. And he uploads like twice a day. It's not a get rich quick scheme. That's a myth fueled by the rare viral outliers. In fact, due to my own inconsistency and just terrible work ethic and attitude, I'm making less on my main channel than I have in years. So I sure would like some of that easy money to be honest. I know, I just literally need to upload more. Like huge swings are also the norm. with YouTube. YouTube could demonetize my channel for something arbitrary tomorrow. They have done that to create, not arbitrary, like if you bring bad press to YouTube, but say you're wrongly accused of something outrageous, right? Say you get wrongly accused and then YouTube doesn't give a fuck. As a knee-jerk reaction, they just demonetize your channel because they don't want the negative. They can't be seen to be that, even though they are quite neutral and impartial, they're a business at the end of the day. They don't want that kind of negative press. So they will just they can and will hold the right to demonetize your channel. But say you did something wrong, but say you didn't even do something wrong, you just got accused of it and everyone believed it, but it wasn't true. And it was like a conspiracy. You won't be able to do anything about it. You just have to wait it out. There was the 2017 adpocalypse where advertisers decided to just pull en masse out of YouTube. And that's annoying. There were some things that were going wrong on YouTube and then everyone got penalized for it. And I wasn't even an earning YouTuber at the time, but I just remember that was annoying because it turned into like this weird boycott where it's not like, I don't think there were advertisers pulling out that weren't giving a shit, but they just had to be seen to be pulling out as well because of how, people get with peer pressuring. And I do think there's something to be said about how big creators like Charlie can't really win that much because he's being transparent. But it's now invited backlash of he's made too much money. But if he was secretive, it's why won't you be honest? Why won't you show receipts? Like I don't feel like he can win. And there is the argument of like, the bigger you get, the more you have to pay when it comes to teams and editors and taxes. But that's a good problem to have, to be honest. So I don't really care about that. And I do also think generally, most of the time to succeed at YouTube, you have to be good at something. There are some huge creators who I have terrible, I'm not going to name names, me being a bitch as usual, them being like, why didn't know YouTubers like me? Some huge creators have awful on-screen charisma. Or like charisma's doing a lot of heavy lifting there. They are that diabolical, right? So they edit well, or they pay an editor to edit well for them. I think Charlie has quite relatable, humble charisma. Thus, he doesn't need to bother editing that much, and he doesn't. He's largely unedited because he's very like off the cuff, and he can, I don't know, reel out very funny. He does crack me up. He's a wordsmith, all right. He's Shakespeare. But I feel like, you either have to have good charisma, good editing, or look good. I feel like people rarely pull in good views if you have good opinions. You have good opinions, you're intelligent. So I feel like rarely people are pulling in good views if their opinions are wank, their equipment is wank, their editing is wank, and their face is wank. Do you know what I mean? I feel like you have to be good at something. If you're not good at least one part of this process, you're not going to last no matter how much you want it. So I think Charlie did get lucky. You can get lucky, and a lot of people do a lot of the big creators have gotten lucky with like a viral hit. But then to sustain that and have longevity and, Charlie probably got lucky with like some early viral clips. My boyfriend said something like that because he used to watch him when he was in university or something like that. I don't really remember exactly what he said. But Charlie had like some viral, I want to say Call of Duty clips or moments. But then to sustain that and to be at a level where you are regularly pulling in millions of eyeballs to watch your videos, that's not just down to luck. That's down to understanding the algorithm and understanding what you're doing and putting it out there and also just like going for it. I mean, I've been doing this both as a hobby and as a full-time job for 8 years. And yet still I'm like, really though, should I just turn on my microphone and even doing this video right now, just yapping about whatever for like an hour straight, I was feeling like, but should I, like, who gives a fuck? Why do people care about my opinions? That's so weird. So a part of like succeeding on YouTube and it being sustainable and you wanting to upload in the first place is like believing in that you have something worthwhile to say. I don't. That's why I really fluctuate with the uploads because I get just like, I guess it's imposter syndrome. Like, who fucking cares? Who wants to listen to me interrupt myself for an hour straight? Gosh, snore. But yeah, I do think to be a big creator and it be sustainable and you not, burn bright and then it's over in 2 seconds, you do have to be good at what you're doing. If it was that easy and anyone could do it, then everyone who tried would have 2 million views per video. And spoilers, they don't. I don't, because I'm not that good. There is also, you have to account for like but that's where the luck comes in, the algorithm favoring you or noticing you or picking you up. That's where the luck side of it comes in. But then to have longevity is about knowledge and work ethic. And really, when you think about it, let's compare it rather unfairly. I think people are going to kick off for this one. Let's compare it to other entertainment industries. Like my last video so far has 21,000 views. Now, 21,000 people And I'm just comparing because obviously, like a YouTuber who pulls in 21,000 views isn't going to be able to fill that in an arena. But let's just imagine this hypothetical scenario that is the case. So the O2 Arena has 20,000 seats. So 21,000 people sitting like bums down. As it's an arena level audience. If you did a live show of 21,000 people where each ticket was £10, that's £210,000 in gross revenue for like one show, right? But you know, when you account for like the staff, the insurance and marketing and rental and all this kind of stuff, 70% of that 210,000, like either half or like 3/4 of that would be gone already to the fees and the agents and all this kind of stuff. So maybe you'd walk away with like 10% or 20% of 210,000 if you're lucky. 10% of 210,000 is still £21,000. Whereas if you get 21,000 views on YouTube and your CPM is £10, you make £210. So you do really, and I know it's not that equivalable, I'm just like playing a like little fun hypothesis here, you do really get way less per viewer on YouTube than IRL entertainment. Like if every one of those 21,000 people bought a ticket IRL, that would be a life-changing event at like £10 a ticket. But on YouTube, it's just a good video with some nice passive income. The flip side of that is YouTube is completely accessible for almost everyone and scalable. You don't have to hire an arena or deal with logistics or risk a loss, but you do give up most of the per head revenue in exchange for your scale and convenience. So, like, that's the trade-off. That's also probably why big comedians and pop stars and live acts do a lot of touring. Oh yeah, most of it goes back to but if you've made 21,000 is a lot, but say like it's 1,000 and the tickets are like £10, which is still cheap. That's, 10,000. So then say like 80% of that has gone to the overhead cost. That's still £2,000 per show. And then just imagine, no, not even just imagine, just think of how many podcasts on YouTube then go on tour and sell out arenas. And, like the cancelled podcast, they were selling out arenas, right? Well, not arenas. They were selling out like 500 seats, 1,000 seats, like several thousand seats in some of these places. And the tickets were expensive. Like you had the meet and greets for like $300. Or you had like some tickets for like $50 or whatever. Even if like 80% of that is going, they were making like thousands, maybe tens of thousands some nights. It's a totally different economy. And yeah, interesting, isn't it? Live shows are really where the big money is. I think what I'm trying to say is don't be huffy with Charlie. No one accidentally sustains big numbers for years. He clearly has something about him. It's his unique presence or relatable charisma or whatever it is. He has something about him that people like. And personally, I don't have a problem with how much money that he's made over the years because he inputs quite a lot. So his output is quite a lot. YouTube is more fairer in that regard than I think a lot of professions are. It is more fairer. Anyone can start, really. If you've got a camera, you can start. And it's fairer in that sense. It's not like you're having to do overtime for well, you can if you want, I suppose, if you want to be a nerd about it. But it's not like you have to do a bunch of overtime to then make like $3,000 a month or whatever. But you also you have to have something about you that makes people want to watch. You essentially, when you do a video, you are selling yourself to the audience to convince them to stick around to watch your adverts. So then you get paid. You have to not everyone can do it. Maybe not everyone should do it. Or it's not like as soon as you sign up, you're going to be like rolling in easy money. It's a grind to get to where Charlie has gotten, and his returns are huge because he's pulling in huge numbers. And I just don't understand why. I don't understand I know that it's quite jarring for people who maybe, insist on not realizing how much money there is to be made in influencer marketing. And I'm saying insisting passive aggressively here because I've mentioned over the years, how much money some people like pulling. And, if people don't want to believe me, then that's fine. But then don't act surprised when Charlie, who is one of the top in the field, is he's a 0.1% creator. Of course, he's pulling in huge numbers. He gets millions of views per video and he uploads twice a day. But as I said, even top creators, they're only getting a percentage of the cut. YouTube and Google are taking the rest. And it's offset by how unstable it all is. Charlie could have a career-ending scandal tomorrow and lose and at least lose his monetization and lose his audience. You're sort of, don't want to be dramatic here, there's quite dramatic language, but you are kind of held hostage by how much people like you or are willing to put up, if you're like Hatana Mojo, or are willing to put up with your bullshit. It is basically a bit of a popularity contest. So I guess if you're mad at anything, be mad at this type of capitalism. But even then, this type of capitalism, God, there are issues with it, don't get me wrong, but it's fairer than the Tesco CEO, I'm going to get sued by Tesco. I don't know why I keep mentioning them. The Sainsbury's CEO, the Tesco CEO paying themselves a big fat wage for not doing like that much, whereas their workers are working like 60 hours a week. YouTube, if as long as your channel is in good standing and as long as you censor yourself enough that the advertisers like you, it's not like that. If you're doing everything right and getting good engagement and your videos are all performing as they should, which, you know, okay, sometimes, like, look, I did the video about the archetypes of man, the brain rot edition. I thought that would do better than 6,000 views. I thought I did everything right. The thumbnail, the meta tagging, like, you know, the time of day that I uploaded, I did everything right on that. And it still like did shit. Whereas the Bonnie Blue moral philosophy one did quite well. And I didn't think it would. But generally, you know, if you're doing everything right, you're gonna get out what you get in. And that's accessible for like a lot of people. It's accessible for like YouTube is accessible more for more people than a lot of other industries are. Think of all the people who have been like really good at talent, who have been undiscovered, but then got discovered via YouTube, like Justin Bieber, but then got discovered via YouTube. I think it's made a lot more things accessible for people than it hasn't. And I think that's a good thing. I think we give YouTube a lot of shit, but ultimately I think it's a good thing that YouTube exists. Like, realistically, Charlie isn't being handed millions. He's worked for that, and he has 17 million followers. So I don't see the problem with him making the money he does, because the money that he makes comes from advertisers paying YouTube. So what's the problem with him getting a cut? Because if he doesn't get a cut, the money just stays with YouTube and Google, and they're a corporation, so who wants that? Anyway, that's all for today's video. This was a rambling mess. Feel free to disagree with me, I'm sure everyone does. After all, I just hope to make millions from just uploading whatever one day. That's all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. I make new videos whenever I feel like it, clearly. I'm going to do the most critical approach of doing whatever I want, whenever I want. Slight caveat quickly, because I just realised what that sounded like. This isn't one of those situations in which, you know, like, people on Facebook on minimum wage defending billionaires in the hopes that one day they too will be a billionaire, or even better, that the billionaire will see them defending them and then send them £1 million or whatever. This isn't one of those. I think I've demonstrated quite clearly how YouTube, it's a different system in how it works, in that, well, to be honest, if I did it all properly, I'd make more money doing YouTube than I would working any other job that I could with my lack of degree. I'm far more likely to be, well, I am self-sustainingly, I guess, moderately successful on YouTube, and I'm far more likely to be successful or more successful at YouTube than I am to ever go from bottom of the pyramid CEO at a normal corporation. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't want this video to come across as me like defending Charlie in the hopes of, no, I think I've made my point clear. And I will see you all next time. Goodbye.